Hi guys, Dr. Bryce Heinen here with Heinen Physical Therapy. Since everybody's kind of stuck indoors these days, I thought I'd go over some of the common problems we see when people are trying to do ankle mobility on their own. So we're going to talk about the ankle a little bit today. The first thing we got to go over here is the arthrokinematics, or how that ankle works. So essentially your ankle is a mortise, essentially the part that we are targeting at least. So what we've got here, you've got a tibia, you've got a fibia, and you've got a talus. And that forms the mortise, which is essentially this right here. Okay, so we've got a block that comes down, there's two sides to it, and then there's a wedge in the middle. That wedge in the middle is our talus, and that's the target of the band when you're trying to do that ankle mobility where it pulls back. The common mistake people make on this is they put it up on the tibia and fibia right here, and it's not on the actual talus itself, and that's what you're trying to target to make that joint mobilization work. So let's go over a little bit about the arthrokinematics first. So what we need to go over are the articular surfaces. And if you look right here, we're keeping the tibia and fibia together there. And then we've got our talus here. So in this mortise, the talus, this is a convex surface formed by that talus, and the tibia and fibia here form a concave surface. And what that means is the roll and the glide are in an opposite direction. So if we've got my tibia and fibia right here, or tibia and fibia right here, so this is my mortise, and then we've got our talus, okay? It's in like that. So if the front of my foot is right here, and I wanted to raise that foot up, my talus has to roll like that. And if it kept rolling, it would cause impingement at the front of that joint, so it slides posteriorly as well. And that's what people are really trying to do with the band. So to pull that foot up, this has to roll forward, and it's got to slide posteriorly. And that's called a posterior translation of the talus on the tibia and fibia. So if you don't get the band in the right spot and you get it on top here, what you're actually doing is pulling the tibia and fibia back on top of the mortise, which causes anterior translation of the talus. And that's what it does when it's rolling down, when you're bringing your foot down like that. So it can actually kind of negate what you're trying to do with the band. So the real big key on this is to make sure if you're trying to do that with the band coming from the back, you got to be below the two bumps on either side of your ankle. And that'll ensure that you're more down on the talus. So let's go over real quick the ways to do that. There's two different ways. We can do it from the front and the back, and it all depends on the glide that we're introducing. So let's go ahead and go over that a little bit. I'm going to switch the camera down so you guys can see more of what I'm doing at my feet. Okay? Okay guys, so we're going to go ahead and go over kind of the traditional way that everybody does this ankle mobility glide. So we're going to slip it around the foot. This band is a really good width. It's about 1 inch. That seems to work pretty well. So you want to walk it out there, get some tension on it, and then again, the big key is to make sure it's way below these ankle bones right here. And that's really going to make sure you're on that talus. And so when I go forward like that, that talus is rolling up, and that band is providing that posterior translation. And that's the part that you're really looking for. That should help improve your ankle mobility. And sometimes with this, you can help kind of keep it in place by pulling down like that. That'll definitely keep it on the right spot. So there is another way to do this. If you feel like you're having trouble with this one, you can't keep it below these bones very well, you can actually do it the other way. And let's briefly go over what that is and how it works. So if we face the other direction and we have that band pulling from here, pulling your tibia and fibia like that anteriorly, when you pull that foot up, the band is causing these to glide anterior on the talus, which turns into a relative posterior mobilization of this talus. So it's essentially the opposite movement, but it does the same thing. and it's honestly up to you which you feel like is more effective. So let's go over that real quick. So putting that on the bones or a little bit above, you come back with it. Same kind of thing. We're here going forward. And that'll give you that relative glide of that mortise as well. So those are kind of the common mistakes that we see people making. Really, the biggest thing on that is that people generally keep that band up too high the way they traditionally do it. So the key is make sure you really got it down low so you're actually targeting a talus and getting that posterior glide. So we're going to keep doing some more of these as we go through this whole quarantine bit. If you have any suggestions or something you'd like to see us go over, don't hesitate to reach out and let us know. So everybody stay safe and take care. Have a good one.